Is Boneworks good? Well, I don't know. You tell me. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that Boneworks is a good game. In fact, I think it's the best VR game on the market right now. The biggest thing that people will notice almost immediately upon watching someone play Boneworks or playing it themselves is that your character has a body. This is very different from other VR games that have either floating hands or in some cases just the controllers themselves. This lends itself very well towards making the game immersive. However, in my opinion, it isn't the main reason this game feels so real. So why is Boneworks so immersive, really? In my opinion, the thing that really makes Boneworks stand out is the physics. From the beginning, one of the biggest selling points to me about this game was that everything in the environment could be interacted with. Your character's body has collision with everything in the environment, rather than clipping through everything. Your hands stop when you try to push them through things. Everything that isn't nailed down can be moved or picked up. Every object in the game has a simulated weight, etc. All of these factors combine to create a game world that really makes you forget that you're even playing a game. So, the guns. Arguably one of the most important components to this game, and that is only because of how they feel. Pavlov and Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades are the two most popular VR titles that I can think of that revolve around guns, and neither of them come close to matching the feeling of shooting a real firearm like this game does. The most glaringly obvious reason for this is that the recoil of all the guns in Boneworks is physics-based rather than animation. I'll let Brandon, the head of Stress Level Zero, the developers of this game, explain this one for me.
So essentially the way the kick's working right now, we had to work for a long time to get it to this, but it's just doing an add force to the front of the gun where the barrel is.
It's an actual physics reaction.
So it's actually physics. So if you go and here D1 hand that gun and then fire it. So it climbs left. Now put your hand just above the gun and then push down.
Dude, that's sick!
You can actually push them
so you
down.
can hold
just
down
like...
or you put it on the bottom of the table. There you go. Oh yeah, nice and stable.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, the main thing is the recoil. I can tell you firsthand that it's the closest a VR game has ever come to feeling like the real thing. And FYI, I have actually shot real guns before, so I would say that I'm probably a little stricter on this than most people who would be playing these games. The other thing that had to be done was to make the handling doable in combination with all of the other inputs this game requires. I imagine this had a lot of thought put into it since they couldn't bind all of the gun controls to separate buttons, since those buttons were being used by other things. Their solution was simple, but it works pretty well and it's easy to get used to. To remove the magazine from any gun, you can either simply grab the spent mag and throw it away, or you can touch a fresh magazine to the gun, which will drop the old one out automatically. To drop the bolt or slide on any gun, you can either do that manually or by pulling the trigger, which simulates the slide drop or bolt release. So this game's ambient soundtrack is absolutely incredible. It perfectly matches the overall tone of the game, and what's even more impressive is that the whole thing was made by one guy, Michael Wyckoff. The soundtrack is called Bone Tones, and the whole thing is available for free in a playlist on YouTube. I'll link to it down in the description. The song you've been listening to this whole video is called Analog Sunrise. Obviously I can't play the whole soundtrack in this video, so you'll just have to take my word for it on how great it is, but I'll leave you with the song known as Midnight Void for the end card. There's of course more to this game, but for this part of the review I just wanted to cover the basics, so I will see you in the next one.